And once again, welcome to the Upper Room. I'm your host, Eugene Holden, with my dear brother, the Reverend Charles Hall. And we're here just to, we're here chopping it up, but chopping it up from a higher level of consciousness, or just from a higher level, just talking about whatever comes up. So welcome everybody to the Upper Room. And let's just jump on in, man. Let's just jump on in.
It's funny you talk about the level, the higher level. Can I jump right in?
I just said, let's jump right in.
Let's jump right in. Man, back in my weed smoking days, when I used to skip school. Kids, if you're listening to this, don't do that. But I turned out all right, so skip a couple classes here and there. That's all right. But way back in the day, in my weed smoking days, this is like in my early 20s.
Some of the views of the people who come onto this show are not particular. Anyway, go.
That's right. Do not reflect the opinions of this show and its producers. Who let this dude on here? No, I used to be the level. I was the level keeper. So I'd go around to everybody after we're all smoked, and I'd go, "Hey, man, are you on my level?" And everybody's like, "Well, what the hell level is that?" I'm like, "Are you on the level?" I was the level keeper because my level was always like way upstairs, brother. I was like stoned. So as soon as you said that, that threw me back to my there's this pack of friends that I had. So I'd be like every morning, am I going to go to class or am I going to go smoke some weed?
Right.
And most of the time, it depended if I could pick up the phone and find anybody. If they answered the phone, "What are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're just hanging out. All right, I'm on my way out." And then I was the level keeper, man. Now I keep levels in a different way, but
right.
Thanks for that throwback.
That was you're welcome, man. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to go back to come forward. That's one of the principles of Sankofa. To look back, to go forward. Yeah.
Sankofa, is that from your kung fu practice?
No, Sankofa is a Western African thought. The concept is, and the image is of a large bird that has an egg on its back, and it's reaching back. Sometimes we have to reach back to experience a new birth. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
That's right.
Sankofa.
Yep.
So we were talking about, man, what I wanted to, as I said, man, let's just dive right in, and wanted to find out and ask you, man, where are you, not physically, but mentally, spiritually, with everything, emotionally, with everything that is going on, and with this sense of separation, because that's still a prevalent thing and has been for eons. But where do you see us going, coming from? On my level? Are you on my level?
Are you on the level?
Are you on the level?
On the level. Sometimes it was my level. Sometimes it was the level. If I was the level keeper, it was the level. Are you on the level? Right. Where am I at with all that? A number of different places. I mean, I look out at the world and what's happening, and I'm not particularly informed with what's going on. I'm generally informed with what's going on, but I don't want to be particularly informed of what's going on, to tell you the truth. I want to stay generally informed of what's going on. I know how my mind works. I know how my brain works. I know how my consciousness works, and I tend to sink into things. So I've learned mechanisms. I've learned ways to kind of navigate this world and navigate the potential insanity of my own mind by mitigating the amount of insanity that comes in from the outside, because I've got enough insanity already in here. I'm a crazy motherfucker, man. So there's insanity in the world, man. There's like insane. The word separation, we can dive down, and you and I have a great familiarity with what the word separation means in a new thought context, and it's a a term of consciousness, that something happened, separation, that we're separate from one another. The harder thing that's to perceive is our unity, our oneness. And that's what people are having a terrible time trying to perceive, is our connection. I mean, the insanity of killing another human being for whatever. I try to think of I try to think of why I would kill another person. Like, what would have me do that? And I don't know. I guess the only thing maybe is if the death of my daughter from harm was imminent, then I might probably would attempt to destroy the source of that harm.
Right.
It's just, for all these things, I got to bring them back to home. It looks like there's things happening in other parts of the world, but I got to, like, what's happening right here. And
exactly.
The history of things and the start of things and where they come from, and going back to the beginning, the Sankofa, is that what it is? The word? Right. To get to the present. If I just don't know. I mean, I hear about, where arguments start. Is it somebody's land? Is it somebody else's land? Who's rightfully the owner? This and that. Whenever it comes to the idea of God choosing anyone in particular over somebody else, there's a part inside of me that I just like, you lose me at that point. I just can't. I can't conceive of a God that's, hey, Eugene, God chose me over you, brother. How do you feel?
Right.
I'm serious, man. Right now, God just chose me over you.
Cool.
So I'm going to get all the good stuff, brother, and you're going to get fucked. I mean, really? I don't. So on one side or another, I don't understand that. I can't. Right. It's hard for me to go there, but I think, like, if my neighbor right next door in that house right there tried to come over and say, no, that house is mine, and I'm going to kill you to take it. It's like beyond, it's kind of beyond me a little bit. I try to understand, but I like, or what it would take for me to do that with somebody else. And I don't want my consciousness to get sunk too deep into that stuff. And I guess I'm grateful for all the things I've been exposed to that say, I'm going to sit down and try and talk to you about it. Cause there've been plenty of times where I've tried to beat somebody up to get my way, whether physically, verbally, emotionally, whatever it is. That shit doesn't work.
Right. And ultimately it hurts you, in some way, some form, some fashion.
Yeah. I just don't, we're going to keep doing stuff, trying to make it work. And then realize, so this is coming from an alcoholic, I mean, I bulldoze my way through people's lives, without even being aware of it, just in the insanity of alcoholism. And then when you start waking up to that stuff, it's incredibly humbling that, number one, it doesn't work. Number two, you're just creating a wake of destruction and despair and grossness. It's gross. And then number three, it's just humbling to just kind of look at a reflection of that type of thing. And so grateful to allow it to inform how I want to live now, which is just to walk through the world a lot softer. So where am I at with all of it, man? I kind of sit back. I sit back from the sideline and go, man, this world is fucking crazy. And then there's a part of me that goes, in my local environment today, how can I be a place of peace and reconciliation and forgiveness and love? And if something isn't working for me or going my way, or if I have a dispute, let me be inspired with the words and the heart to do everything I possibly can to work it out and use the tools at my mechanism to do it. To come to a place of violence, of hurting each other to get what we believe we want is, man, that's a depth of desperation inside of us that's just crazy. Literally loco, man.
Right. Yeah, it is. And which is an interesting thing to me, because when we break it down, and I've said this before many times, that everybody around the world, I don't care if you're black, white, blue, purple, Islamic, whatever it is, everybody essentially wants the same things. We all truly want the same thing. To number one, to have food, a place to live, shelter. That's the physical side. But then to be loved, to experience love, to have a life of peace, right? And it doesn't always have to be like just that it flows, just that it flows. And so for me, I don't know what I can do to impact the world. I know what I can do to impact my immediate environment, right? One of the things that we hear is, what's to find out what's mine to do, and all of that is good. But for me, my first thing is, who am I to be in this situation? But once I realize and recognize who am I to be in this, that informs what's mine to do.
Love that.
Yep. Right? Like, yep. As you and I have this beautiful connection with the the martial arts, right? And so what's mine to do if I'm in front of someone and they're coming really, 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 really hard? Well, who am I to be in this? Well, let me, number one, be clear so I can see what's coming on, and let me be calm within this situation. Now that informs what my action is. In my action, I love the Tai Chi because my action would be this, and we just let them keep going by.
Let their own energy just kind of let them go, right?
Yep. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing whenever you find yourself in a verbal tick for tat, right? Going back and forth, and just the physical repositioning. If you just turn just a bit, it changes the whole thing.
Yep.
Now, don't turn in a offensive way, like you want to attack, but just turn so that it goes right past you.
Yeah.
Stuff is a trip, man.
Stuff is a trip. You have the connection to the martial arts. I have the connection to the comedy that comes along with the martial arts, right? You have the deep roots with martial arts. I have the experience of being tormented by you on behalf of the martial arts. That's the connection. Let's be clear for the audience. What's really going on? I have no real authentic connection with the martial arts. I have the connection of being
I don't know about tormented, Charles.
Abused. Hey, man, I got to blow my nose real quick. I'm going to pause my camera real quick.
Right? Okay. And as he's doing that, I want to let you know that I did not abuse my brother, Charles Hall. But really, though, so here's what I want to say is, like, we want to find out, we want to be aware of what's going on around us. And then, and then really connect with, okay, who am I to be in this? I've been listening to and watching some of the YouTube stuff about, the transgender thing, the war, and over in Israel and Palestine, which has been going on for hundreds of years. And just watching how many people, especially how many people are just wanting to continue to fight, wanting to, and not for me, this is just my own personal opinion, not recognizing that all of this has been set up to not allow that, but to engender that, to inspire that to keep going on. It's like, why are we having sides here?
Why are we having sides here? That's to really actually stop and think about that question.
Right.
Is a worthy exercise. Why am I on this side or that side? And as soon as I'm on this side, if there are sides, there's another side, and we're against each other.
Right. Right.
Why? Because we think we're owed something. Because of my ego would tell me that it's mine.
Right. Right.
I think every person or entity or organization, country, whatever, needs to really ask themselves that question. That's all we can do. I think that's what what I'm more and more realizing is the only relationship I have is the one with myself. That's it. It's the only thing I can possibly have is a relationship with this guy right here. And the journey of spiritual principle, the journey that our teachers would set us on to go find ourselves, to go do this and do that. And we can travel 1,000,000 miles, and invariably the place that we're going to end up back at is standing in front of the mirror.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Grandpa just fell off the desk.
What fell off the desk?
Grandpa. My picture of me and my gramps.
Oh, yeah. Well, you making all that noise.
I know he's yelling at me from behind. Like, just calm down, dude.
Boy, quit making all that noise.
That's what
he's
really,
saying. That's
and I never heard my gramps raise his voice, really. I mean, he chased me and my brother around with a big log of wood once because we fired a golf ball right through his sliding glass door. Other than that, he never really raised his voice. So he's probably saying, just calm down.
Yeah.
Charlie, just calm down. But that's, I mean, we keep trying to fix our problems out there.
Right.
We keep thinking the source of our issue is someplace over there, and it isn't.
It isn't.
And we could get, 100 people show up on this thing and say, yeah, they're the source of my problem. This is the source of my problem. The boss is, the Israelis are, the Palestinians are, the fucking, my dog is. I'll show you what my dog did to my dog is this. Look what the dog did to this thing. That's from the source of my problems right there, huh? Just tore that mofo apart.
Just being a dog.
I'm just back to the relationship I have with myself. That's it. Right. I want to come in and kind of get a chuckle out of it, or am I going to get my, a bee in my bonnet, a pebble in my shoe, whatever you want to say. I'm just trying to keep it simple, brother. Peaceful, man. Peace. If I'm at peace right here, man, I've said this. It's something that there's no such thing as world peace. The only time world peace is going to exist is when however many people are on the planet now are at peace with themselves.
Right. World
peace is an illusion unless every single individual on this planet is working toward 100% peace within themselves. That's world peace. Otherwise, it's bullshit. Sounds good.
Sounds good. Sounds like a great idea. It is a great idea.
It is a great idea.
It's a great idea. And it does come down to, am I at peace within myself? Even with the dog tearing shit up.
Yeah.
Am I at peace with myself, with the love of my life who just walked out of my life?
Yep.
Whew.
Well, my kid's getting bullied at school or whatever. Yep.
Right. As opposed, and I always go back to this thing about, we have this great gift of choice, right? Or do I choose to get upset? Then do I choose to go and retaliate, on the parents, on the parents of the kids who bullied my child or whatever, I have a choice here. Yeah. And if I'm really wanting to experience peace, here's the thing for me. If I want to experience peace, then I need to be that peace. Now, as corny and as trite as this may sound, but Gandhi had it right on the nail, right? He had it right on the nail. Be the peace. He said, be the change you want to see, right? Well, be the peace you want to experience. Yeah. Because I can't experience any peace outside of me. Just can't.
Can't experience anything outside of you. You're
exactly.
You are the center. Ernest Holmes talks about it. Other people have talked about it. Like we live in, it's in this thing called You. And that's like that's my go-to book. Always.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
That there is literally there's no one center in the universe. That there are infinite centers in the universe. We're talking about an infinite. That every place within that infinite must be its center.
Right.
And so each one of us are its center.
Right.
I don't know. I just turned that center into two different words there, but add a little emphasis.
It was for emphasis.
But that's where the work lies then. So I just have to I can't go through life hoping to find peace here and trying to make it happen over there.
Right.
Or somebody else is going to start it. No, you start it. No, you make it happen.
Yeah.
You'll be waiting forever.
Right. So you've heard when you were growing up, either it was said to you or somebody that you think that you're God's gift to the world.
That's right.
And now at this point, yeah. We all are.
As a matter of fact,
we all are.
Unfortunately, that's not what they really meant. But yes, I am. And if you were to say, well, as a matter of fact,
I am.
Since you brought it up,
I'm glad you recognize that.
That's right. That's funny.
Boy, go to your room, you and your gift.
That's right. You and your gift, shove it. That's funny.
You and your gift, go sit in the corner. But the truth is that we all not only have gifts, all of us are gifts, because we are the center of this infinite universe. Man, isn't that a beautiful thing to really not just think about, but then to really catch hold of?
Yeah.
That I am the center of the universe, not in this egoic, big headed way, right? But from this place of truth.
Yeah. From a place of truth, from a place of being.
From a place of
being.
It's not like
it, and it doesn't get me anywhere. It doesn't get me anything.
Right.
It's simply for this guy, an understanding of what's really happening. And that because I am the center of it, I am a center of it.
Yeah.
That there's spiritual power right where I am. That there's actually universal presence right where I am. And so it can bring me a great peace right now. There's a great disservice. There's a great service, a tremendous service, and a great disservice that New Thought, bastardization, if you will, has provided for the world. It's this whole idea of like manifesting your life, manifesting until the cows come home. What happens generally when somebody manifests something? They get it. Correct? You manifest something, but like, okay, then you have the thing, and then you're going on to like manifesting the next thing and manifesting the next thing. And that might be great for somebody that truly comes from, I see the gift in it from somebody that truly comes from maybe like a real deep embedded victim place. Right. Like the world is truly happening to me. Okay, let me pull myself out of that.
Right.
At least into a neutral place of life isn't happening to me. I'm a participant with it. There's a tremendous, that's a blessing of New Thought. That's a blessing of empowered consciousness. A curse of it is once we get there, then we just keep trying to it's just a pointless exercise of continuing to manifest stuff without any substance to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, and we can do it. People get to do it, but it doesn't lend to peace. It just lends to getting shit.
Right.
It doesn't lend to like fundamental, a fundamental experience of the beauty of being human.
Right.
It lends to a tremendous amount of anxiety, and
they're
getting, and I'm not. Well, what's wrong? I'm not getting it and manifesting. And a lot of people that even are exposed to this thing aren't really demonstrating shit anyway. And then they think there's something wrong with them.
Right.
So this is one guy's, obviously, I go to people and I go, man, am I starting to sound like one of those like grumpy old men? But I feel more joyful than I ever have, actually. I just feel like I've got things kind of more in perspective now. Part of it has just been getting my ass kicked by life. And then here I am still. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore, brother. I'm just talking.
No, it's good. It's all good.
It hopes that it's life-giving for somebody.
Well, and it's coming back to you being the center, a center in this infinite thing called life. And having, and so for me, I have to say when folks talk about, new thought and science of mind and spirit and art teaching, and I don't say anything, but I'm like, oh no, this is not new, y'all. You know, Holmes has happened to put it in a way that people can go, oh, I get this, but it's not new, right? So that's my little thing about, you know, that. And you're right. It does people a service when they can catch it to pull themselves out of that victimhood, right? Things are happening to me. Oh, woe is me, you know, as Richard Pryor. Was it Richard Pryor? You know, they said, well, why me? Well, why not you? You know?
Why not you? Yeah.
You know,
I think I go through this exercise, you know, for me, for a long time, it's been about money, you know, not a car, or, you know, I've done that. You know, it's like I've had nice cars and I've taken trips, and, you know, like I've done really, I sometimes take stock of my life and I go, man, I've been fortunate and blessed to do some really, really, really cool things, travel,
good life
and things like that. So I think now sometimes I get seduced by the idea of, you know, this lottery jackpot was up to like $1.7 billion, right? And I thought, you know, and everybody's like, well, how great it would be to win that and that kind of stuff. And so I play the movie forward a little bit, and I think to myself, if I've got even, I don't know, whatever, $10 million in my bank account or whatever, I don't have to think about money, and I can charter a private, like, what would I do? Charter a private jet. I'd go sit on a beach in Tahiti, or, you know, what if some of the most exotic, beautiful beach in the world, National Geographic #1, whatever it was. Play some golf at the most beautiful, you know, like I do these things. And then I kind of play it forward, and I think, okay, if I'm not golfing or in between shots and I'm just golf shots and I'm sitting on the beach and I'm just sitting there, like, there I am. So I've still got another, you know, $1 billion in the bank or whatever it is. There I am. I could distract myself, I guess, and go on to the next activity and do the next thing and keep rolling. But it's like, it's not going to change my relationship with myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
What is actually having all of that money? It's not going to change shit except my capacity to move around geographically.
Right.
Or have a car. But it's still, I'm going to sit in that car and still be right here where I am with myself. So, you know, it's just kind of getting down to brass tacks. Like, what do I want to experience right here? And adding, and it's, Jesus talks about it. There's not one thing, you know, we can add to ourselves. It's going to make one bit of difference.
Right.
Except moving ourselves in our mind, in our heart, in our soul into an awareness that the motherfucking kingdom of heaven is already at hand.
Right. Right. Right here, right now.
That's the word. That's it. That's
right here, right now.
That's the word.
You know,
I'm doing your show and just straight R-rated show, brother.
Reverend Charles Hall.
You know what, man? I've so many years as a reverend, and people would say, you're supposed to be a reverend. Aren't you a reverend? And always I was just like,
I reverently do this.
Yeah, like, you're supposed to be a reverend, and like having to explain what that means and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, I'd rather just move through life. I didn't know how to reconcile it for a long time. That was my biggest challenge with the ministry, like being Reverend Charles Hall. It's like people say, oh, they don't feel reverent. And I even see like the Dalai Lama and Bishop Tutu, and they're having these conversations about joy, and they're laughing and they're ribbing each other. I'm like, that's not irreverent, man. That's like two old men sitting there kind of giggling and right. You know, that's not irreverent. Did you grow up listening to the 2 Live Crew?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who did you do that? Do you have that? Did you grow up, you know, participating in a bunch of stuff that I just am not going to go into right now?
Right.
And then become a reverend and have to integrate all that and not get rid of all your friends that you still knew you before you were a reverend, and you still go hang out with them, and you still go to bachelor parties with them, and you still travel with them, and you still do all these things. Like, at what my journey wasn't like being fully engrossed into the holiness of the bubble. You know, it was an exposure to all the things of the world while feeling called to this life of service and spiritual principle. I just could never reconcile it, man. I was just lived in such pain and angst with it, man. And was such like, this doesn't make sense. You know, like you attempt to tell everybody You get to be free. You're a free
Right.
soul. But the only thing are a bunch of eyeballs looking back at you saying you're supposed to be like this.
Right. Right.
You're a reverend, so it's supposed to look like this. I want to hear that. It's like, how do you really have a message of profound freedom, authentic, joyful, true freedom? And practice it. I think that's the kingdom of heaven, and actually practice it, because people will go, yeah, freedom. And then they'll come up against their first boundary and go,
oh shit. Right. Right.
I can't say fuck. Because now all of a sudden I'm out. My grandma said, don't curse. Don't take the Lord's name, all those things. How unholy it is to curse. How unholy it is to listen to Two Live Crew. All the things they talked about. All the things I've been exposed to. How unholy is all of that? Is it? Is it?
Right. Exactly.
Is it unholy? Is it unsacred? It might be graphic.
Everything.
It's not a way that my mom was talking about making love, that's for sure. And I never want to hear her talking about making love anyway.
Right.
It's not a way I want to hear about it from certain other people. You know what I mean? Like, what are we really talking about? Like, freedom, everybody's freedom still has there's still a boundary to it.
Right. Right. A self-imposed.
Right? Ultimately, but they come from all over the places. I mean, you can't even see the picture, but this is me and my grandpa back way, a long time ago. There's certain boundaries that, like, there too. I guess my boundaries now is not to violate life. Not to hurt myself or another. Even as an alcoholic, I thought I could kill myself from drinking. I can do that. I've got sovereignty over this thing right now.
Right.
It's my choice what to do with this thing. That wouldn't be, it's my choice. So I actually had to really, before I got sober, really think about that. I could kill this thing. I could. That's my choice. Do I want to do that?
Right.
What really started waking me up, even while drinking in the midst of that conversation, was if I harm somebody else, that's when I'm violating a fundamental universal law. That's the real violation. And that's what really started waking me up to. I can't do that, man, because then my soul felt like it would be truly lost.
Right. Right.
So, man, I just feel like I'm just talking a bunch of shit right now.
Yeah, but that's what we're here to do, man, is to chop it up.
We're
chop it up. Chop it up. And let's take this a little bit.
That just brings me back to, though, what I was saying is just simply like cause no harm, like be at peace here. Don't harm myself, don't harm others.
Right.
And help, and help.
And causing no harm also means, it's not just physically, right? If I'm thinking about somebody in a harmful way, that's still, causing harm because of the power that we are, the power that we walk with, because we are a center of this infinite thing called life.
Yes. There is still a sacredness about my thought being my thought. Because I think harmful thoughts. Mm-hmm. I take responsibility for that. Every day I think harmful thoughts. Someone does something to me and I think about cutting their knees off. I think about it. Well, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But I'm also not going to come home and think about it and create a game plan for how to go cut this guy's legs off at his knees. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
I reserve the right to have this right here is sacred.
Right.
When it comes out of this thing, then it's in the public domain. This is private.
Right.
This is private domain. This is public domain. Right?
Yes, right. But right. Yeah.
If I start using these things in a violent way, that's public domain.
Right.
This is private, man. I can do things in here and then have the discernment to not have it do this or come out here, etc. But we got to give ourselves some room to be.
So with that same example, right? Cutting somebody off at the knees, wee, have I had those thoughts,
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I get to go, okay, so what's triggered me to have those thoughts? So I want to bring it back
That's right.
to me because my intention is to show up as peace.
Yes.
But right now I'm a little pissed off about this situation here. So what's that about? Yeah.
Yes.
And so here's what I got, man, is when I realized that for me, I'm gonna use the word God. It can be whatever word y'all out there want to use, love,
That's right.
peace, joy, whatever.
That's right.
And when I recognize that it is everywhere, present at all times, then it's present when I go, you know what? I will whoop your mother. It's even there.
Yep.
It's even there, and it's okay. When I really caught that, I'm like, oh, I'm free. I don't have to judge me for cussing up a storm. I don't have to judge me for having that thought of cutting that person's knees out, right?
No.
I don't have to judge myself. I can go, ooh, that's an interesting thought. What's that about?
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with them.
That's right. Why do I get so pissed off about what just happened?
Right.
I feel violated. They're doing something to me.
They're doing something to me. Right. Just like the example that you showed through your camera with what your dog did, right? Which reminded me, and at that time, I thought, when you showed them, my thought was, I really understand. And I remember when I caught this, you've heard the phrase, no sense in crying over spilled milk. It's spilled. So why am me crying about it or not crying about it is not going to change the fact that it happened.
Yeah. Well, right? Exactly. It's not. And then it's just simply the friction of, man, I got to clean it up. I'd rather be going to do something else, all that kind of stuff. Right. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a feedback though, where if I go where I go in my head, it is private, but it is good feedback for me because my peace is disturbed. And then I can go, do I want to continue to be triggered by those things and then work on it? Yep.
Coming back to that gift of choice, right? Do I want to continue to be stirred by these things? Yeah. And I can go, yeah. One of my greatest, I had a very good experience in terms of calling someone to get prayer. And this goes back years. And I was so upset because there was this business transaction that, the guy was just shady. Right. And I thought he was a friend of mine. And it just didn't go well. And I was really upset. And I called my prayer partner at that time to get prayer. She says, so do you want to pray right now or you want to bitch and moan? I'm like, you know what? Let me bitch and moan. Because I need to do that. So sometimes that's what we need to do. We need to process it. I'll 100%. Get you the prayer. Yeah.
I need to bitch and moan. 100%. Yeah. I love that.
And that's okay.
Got to move the energy, baby. Let's not hurt anybody. That's a safe spot to just get it all out. Move that energy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want you. You got time to talk. I don't want you to fix it. I just need someone to talk to. Just let me get this out. Because if it's bouncing around here, if I'm not aware of it, it can come out of here, and I don't like that. That doesn't feel good at all. Yeah,
at all.
Do no harm.
Yeah, baby.
Nee Hall.
What up? What else?
Thank you so much, man. We can sit here for another hour, but we can't.
No.
You got stuff to do. You got to clean up the room.
I got to clean this up. I got a client I'm wrapping with in 20 minutes. Which, by the way, can I a little commercial? I love working with people one-on-one and helping them get free, and that's something I offer as a licensed spiritual counselor. So if there's anybody listening to this or anybody on your show that's interested in receiving some help and assistance in a one-on-one setting or a family setting, my website is thelifecaddie.com, THELIFECADDIE.com, thelifecaddie.com. I'd love the opportunity to work with you and partner with you in creating a life that you love. It's one of the things I love the most, man. Almost as much as how much I love Sifu Eugene Holden. And for real, the work that you do. And man, I've known you for 21 years now. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty special. And to have reconnected and to do this with you and have the honor the honor to be welcomed onto this platform with you that you're doing to help. You've got a voice that matters, that's needed.
Thank you, brother.
And to be able to just lend a little bit of whatever I'm lending to what you're up to, I'm grateful to be able to do it, man, and be here with you and participate. So I appreciate you very much. And man, you're a good human being and a good man. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I mean, I had to put the WWW in there. I appreciate that, man. And reconnecting with you just in this past year has been a wonderful thing, and it's like we haven't lost a beat, so I appreciate you, which is why everybody, Charles Hall is with the Upper Room once a month, because we get to do this, doing what we love doing, right?
I love it. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, man.
Cool, brother.
I am too, man. Thank you so very much. Let me get out of there. And got to do the outro, man.
Do the outro. You're working the control board back there too, aren't you?
Oh, man. Look at that little tune. Being a percussionist. Everybody, again, thank you for joining us on the Upper Room, which airs live Wednesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern time. And you can always catch it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. And another thank you, my brother Charles Hall. I love you, dude. Love you, dude. Cool. And we are